Welcome to Ecker Geopolitics. It is April 13th, 2026, and honestly, it appears that Donald Trump is the Antichrist. That's what he wants. That's the image he wants to be portrayed, I guess. Then that's what it looks like. So when we look at this, I was honestly amazed. I was pretty shocked by it. And when we look at this, again, this was from Watcher Guru, who posted this because Trump deleted the post, but he had said that he was essentially Jesus Christ. And this comes after all of these different posts where Trump was also talking against Catholicism and Christianity and all of these things. So it's very interesting. And when we see all of this information happening, but now he has removed the post. So now it's not there. And to say the least, people aren't going crazy about it. Especially Christians. It's not looking good for the evangelical community, the Christian community. And it's not, because it is honestly idolatry. And it is blasphemy because, again, many U.S. Catholics are dismayed by Trump's unprecedented broadside at the first American Pope. And he's been going at war with the Pope, Donald Trump, and essentially started all this craziness with him. A majority of U.S. Catholic voters supported Donald Trump in the 2024 presidential victory, yet across the broad Catholic political spectrum, even among conservative leading bishops, there is a dismay over Trump's unprecedented verbal assault on Pope Leo, the first American to lead their church. So it's very interesting to see how all of this is happening. A lot of different stories coming out about this, and Twitter is responding in a variety of different ways. Ultimately, people aren't too happy about it. And this is what Harrison Smith had to say, and Alex Jones, and kind of what their statements were. This was also a little bit of what Nick Fuentes had to say in his statement. So let's take a listen to this video.
Other people have noticed that this picture was originally posted by somebody else in February of this year, and yet the one Trump put has been altered. And if the crew can bring up that image, this is the one that Donald Trump posted to his Truth Social. And right in the middle, sort of above Trump's head, in the original image, it's just soldiers sort of in heaven with the sun behind them. But this one has some sort of bizarre editing that makes the soldier in the center look like he has wings, right here, or maybe a crown, almost like the Statue of Liberty, which of course some say is a interpretation of a drawing of painting of Lucifer. So that is sort of inexplicable, sort of unexplained. I don't know if the crew can find the original one posted, but the original one just looks like a regular soldier. And this one, I don't know.
So Trump like changed the entire picture here and turned this into something else completely.
Why? But he's got, you know, something strange has been manipulated through AI before being posted. Very strange. Yeah, there's the edit right there. So again, why would you edit it like this? What is that even supposed to be? People are showing that it looks like
crazy. It's look at that.
Lucifer. Again, it would be a bit overt to do something like this, but then again, maybe that's the point. I don't know. What I do know is that Donald Trump is making decisions that are genuinely insane.
Yeah, totally. That's just wild. It really is. And when you look at that, it's honestly obscene because, again, it's just not okay. Trump threatens to cut off trade with Spain over the air bases. That's also some very big news. Again, people are responding in a lot of different ways to what Trump has been saying, a lot of his different statements. This is some breaking news. Again, Trump cuts off trade with Spain over military bases. So let's look at this video. Once we can get the sound on, hold on. There we go.
And now Spain is enthusiastic about it. Germany, everybody. And Spain didn't do it. And now Spain actually said that we can't use their bases. And that's all right. We could use their base if we want. We could just fly in and use it. Nobody's going to tell us not to use it.
I kind of like that.
We don't have to, but they were...
I like a president who is willing to go for it, but at the end of the day, yeah, crazy.
Friendly.
So now we're cutting off trade with Spain.
So I told him we don't want to. Spain has absolutely nothing that we need other than great people. They have great people, but they don't have great leadership. And as you know, they were the only country that in NATO would not agree to go up to 5%. I don't think they want to.
And really, this is about the Iran war because they don't want to be involved in the Iran war.
And they don't pay the 2%. So we're going to cut off all trade with Spain. We don't want anything to do with Spain.
That's honestly crazy. Spain. What is with Europe? What's Trump got against Europe? Also, some really big news over the weekend. Apple removed all village names in southern Lebanon from its Maps app, What is the justification for this? What is the reason? And so this has been going super viral. Apparently, Apple removed all of the little villages that were once in Lebanon. And here, as Israel is pretty much settling this land of Lebanon while they're diverting everybody's attention with the Iran war, what happened to all of the Lebanese cities and the villages? Well, Apple said, oh, no, well, they never existed. They weren't on the map. We didn't have them, they said. But again, in the meantime, Israel has destroyed 37,836 homes, killed 2,000 plus people, and murdered 250 children in Lebanon. So again, and it's only been 40 days. So you look at this, housing units destroyed and damaged totally and partially 37,836. So imagine this being your home. Imagine this being your town, your state. Imagine this being the United States of America. How are we supposed to sit by idly and just let it happen? Okay, and so as that is happening, we also have this video and this news.
Large residential blocks. How would you describe this area? Because you're hearing the Israeli military are saying they were specifically targeting Hezbollah infrastructure, command and control centers.
I want to tell all
Listen
people,
to this.
all world.
No Hezbollah here, just civilians.
This world will tell us that there is Hezbollah here and Hezbollah here. In Beirut, there is no Hezbollah.
No
As
Hezbollah,
we
he
are
says.
a child of Beirut, we are not Hezbollah. And we're not including for Hezbollah. And we're not with Hezbollah.
Well, there clearly are
And
some
if
Hezbollah
now-
elements
if
in the
now-
capital
if
city.
Now, If now they tell me that there's a Jewish people here and he need our help, we will help him. Our message is peace and humanity. But what happened here yesterday,
And I don't think that's
this
Israel's
area,
message.
It's food
Right?
and beverage
Insane.
containers. And as we know, as we see, it's for closed container. There's no military here. Beirut, it's under community, under
Absolutely crazy.
Government authority. Yeah. But don't take this peak forward that Hezbollah and Beirut. No, Hezbollah is not in Beirut. Hezbollah and Ansos.
It's just targeted kids and babies.
Yeah, what we see yesterday,
Literally kids and babies.
and old men,
Again, that's breaking
old
news
women,
from Beirut, Lebanon.
old people was grilled.
And
Tragic.
All around.
And I posted that. That got a lot of attention. It got 103 likes and got over, 7,000 views. So it's going crazy on Twitter. People are talking about it. Apple removed Lebanese city and towns from their maps, showing the entire world how Israel hasn't just taken over the U.S. government, but they've also compromised the CEOs of every major U.S. corporation as well, leading to a lot of this. So let's listen to what Ryan Matta had to say. He moved to El Salvador, but I've been loving his content, his analysis.
Tweet from Ethan Levins. So check this out. You know how Israel has been bombing and invading Iran? Well, Apple, this is insane. Apple just removed all of the locations on the Lebanese map from their software. So when you go into Apple Maps right
Could you
now,
imagine if they did this? Like if Israel was bombing the United States and if we just removed, removed certain villages or certain cities from the map specifically because, Israel wanted to, achieve the Greater Israel Project, Pax Judaica. Is that not crazy or what?
and you look at Lebanon, they've removed the Lebanese territory because they know that Israel's on the verge of doing a land grab. They already have Israeli settlers in Lebanon. Like, imagine that. Israel's going into a foreign nation. They are taking their land. They are killing their citizens. And the United States government's just like, yeah, we're okay with it. We're actually going to fund it and support it. Doesn't matter how many women, how many children that you kill. Go ahead, Israel. The entire Middle East is yours. Like, what in the fuck is going on?
Very concerning.
In America? Explain this to me. Explain how we went from no new wars to sending our children off to die in some third world hellhole called Israel on behalf of Benjamin Netanyahu. When the fuck did that motherfucker?
Could you imagine how much money we'd have for real estate and all of these things? Again, if you are looking to invest in real estate, work with me, Brendan Ecker. Be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, support the information, support the news. We're talking about the Iran war. We're talking about Lebanon. We're talking about all of the information and the breaking news that really not a lot of people are going to be willing to cover. I'm covering it because I think knowing what's going on in the world is rather important. But I'm also an entrepreneur. If you're looking to grow your business, you're looking to grow in digital marketing specifically, or you want to grow your business in software. Again, if you're a roofer, if you're HVAC, if you're a med spa, legal services, agencies, home services, real estate agents, e-commerce, we have it all over here at goldsharkmedia.com. Our software quite literally provides you the ability to manage your entire business in one place. And what's awesome about it is that it's not that bad of a deal. So what you're really getting out of this is also white label software. It is an all-in-one business operating system. Full CRM pipeline, and this is just for the $79 a month plan. Full CRM pipeline, track every lead from inquiry to close, follow-up task reminders so deals never go cold, and all of these great deals, right? All this great stuff. And so it's really easy. You get to start the free trial. You sign in to whatever account you want to sign in with. We'll sign in with our Gold Shark Media account, our dummy account. You sign into the software, really simple stuff, and look at that. You're already ready to go. You can add your leads. Everything's fully functional, fully optimized inside of this software for you. And again, and this is good for anybody. Any entrepreneur, business owner, you need to collect all of your leads. You need to export CVS files, upgrade to the Pro plan. You'll be able to do that. But again, we have lead capture forms already pre-built for entrepreneurs, chat widgets, AI chat widgets, Calendly booking, integrate everything right into your business, right into this entire system. And this is kind of cool. What you won't get on a lot of different AI softwares is the ability to prospect and the ability to look for actual clients. So again, you upgrade to Pro, you're going to be able to do that. You're going to be able to find clients throughout the entire United States, or really throughout the entire planet, whatever, based on whatever your industry is. So it's pretty cool stuff. Invoices, payments, tasks, notifications, communication, social publisher. Again, you want to create some social media, we can do that. You can do that right through Gold Shark Media. You need to manage your team here. Perfect. You can do it right here. Reports, keep all your analytics, your data right in one place, your attribution and ROI, executive summaries, ROI calculator. This is really cool. Again, how many leads are you getting? How many leads are you closing? And what is the deal value? Well, you can find all of that up to using this right here. Okay, so you're really using Gold Shark Media's ROI calculator. And again, enter your current numbers as accurately as you can, your monthly inbound leads. Let's say you got 75, current close rate. Let's say it's like 28%. Usually it's around 20, 30%, right? And then you have your average deal value. Guess what? $7,800. And so your estimated upsize would be like $130,000. And your annual would be $1.6 million if you were reaching these kind of numbers. But this is all because of the ROI calculator that's built in to Gold Shark Media AI. Again, we got to grow business here. We got to make money as well, as we're in the information war. And again, we have an AI app builder built into this. We have site funnels, integrations, scheduling. Again, you can schedule all of your calendar meetings. Everything's right there. CRM setup. Everything you could possibly need. We have a referral center. You can become an affiliate partner with us. You can make some money on the side, make some cash flow, white label your software. This means that you can basically put your agency name and the logo of your business on all client-facing pages, the branded HTML emails via Gmail, branded booking and scheduling pages, support email shown to clients, unlimited stuff. It's pretty cool. Branded PDF proposals, branded client portals with tagline, custom email sender name, and you can hide the Gold Shark Media attribution, the professional mode. Trust mode here. So again, we got to have a trust center, right? Got to make sure that you're actually able to get everything you need out of the software. And so this kind of keeps you on track. This lets you know everything you need to do inside of our software. And so that's pretty useful. Got our help center here. Any questions you could possibly have, all answered for you right here at the help center page. And then, of course, your basic settings if you want to manage everything from there. So this is Gold Shark Media AI and everything you can do with that. And so that's pretty cool. And I also created an online course for future real estate agents. You want to become a real estate agent? Work with me. PassREUSA.com. 1,300 practice questions for real estate, ebooks, lesson chapters, interactive videos, and PDFs for maximum value. $99 and you keep it forever. This is going to help you become a real estate agent, study for your state licensing exam to become a real estate agent. And again, you're going to be able to study with all of the top resources that our software and this entire this online course offers you. $99, keep it forever, and then become a real estate agent, guys. Make some money. You know, you sell $1 million house, you make $33,000, right? Somewhere around that number. So, and then lastly, to finish off our little plugs here, subscribe to Ecker Geopolitics or the Brendan Ecker Substack. So it's in the link in the description below. But definitely, yeah, do that. Support the show, support the information. And with that being said, let's get right back into that information. So back to the show. Now that we're done with our little advertisement there. Again, Apple says southern Lebanon villages weren't removed from maps. It never had them. Isn't that sick? So social media users accused Apple Maps of erasing towns in southern Lebanon amid Israeli occupation. Apple says they were never featured on the platform. Insane. Apple claims that villages and towns in southern Lebanon were removed from Apple Maps are incorrect because those locations were never featured on the service after online users accused the company of removing them during the ongoing conflict. Users on X and other platforms accused Apple of removing or failing to show towns and villages in southern Lebanon, sharing screenshots of areas including Bint Jabil, Ada Ash-Shab, Nakora, Maron El Raz, and other broader communities where labels were absent or harder to find than a rival mapping platform. So again, this is kind of the story here. The backlash comes as the Israelis continue to occupy southern Lebanon as the country witnesses continued Israeli strikes, evacuation warnings, and mass displacement, making questions of visibility especially important. So a lot of crazy things happening. Again, what if this was the United States, you know? And I think it's important for us to ask those questions because when you look at these kind of articles from the United Nations, for example, Human Rights Council hears that 700,000 Israeli settlers are living illegally in the occupied West Bank. And again, so let's read this a little bit. The Human Rights Council this afternoon heard the presentation of a report by the High Commissioner for Human Rights, which stated that the current Israeli plan to double the settler population in the occupied Syrian Golan by 2027 was unprecedented, and that 700,000 Israeli settlers are living illegally in the occupied West Bank. So again, we're talking about real estate. Over here in the United States, you buy a house and you got a legal process to buy your home. And again, you want to work with me, I can help you do that. In Israel, it's not such the same thing. They're just going to kind of bomb you, and they're going to bomb that home, and they're going to take that property value that way. It's kind of sick, ain't it? And so that's the world we live in. And that's the world the Lebanese people are living through right now. We can't let that happen in the United States. That is why I bring attention to these matters, because we can never allow this to happen in America. We have to, you know, learn from these mistakes. And also at the same time, we need to stand up for the innocent. Because again, you know, whether people like it or not, it is true. The way I like to think of it, sympathy for the criminals is cruelty to the innocent. And that's what Elon Musk said, and I really believe that. So again, take a look at this article when you get a chance. This is from the United Nations. We won't read the entire thing, but you can look it up. The Questions of Palestine. It's UN. It's on the UnitedNations.org. Talks all about it. And what I also thought was interesting for my geopolitical nerds out there like myself, this is a cool little software that I found. This is called OpenGridWorks.com. And this essentially allows you to find all of the Saudi Arabia power plants and all of the power plants in the United States all over the world, right? So pretty cool stuff. And when you look at all of these locations in Israel, for example, you can see a lot of these power plants and kind of, you know, where things are functioning. And so again, solar is everything you see that's yellow. The blue is basically anything that's wind energy. And really all these little shiny dots here, this is really showing you the Med1, TC1, TC2, TC3, the Tyrak, Kamral, for example. It's really showing you the, you know, kind of the more focused locations there. And so that's very interesting. So when we look at these, you can see what's operational, what's not operational. Again, we're looking at Israel right now. We're looking at all of the Israeli power plants and all of this kind of stuff. But it's very interesting stuff, right? Very cool. And so you got all these different map views you can use too. So again, this is for all the geopolitical nerds out there. Again, it has a lot of features here. I'm not even signed in. But you get to use it for free a little bit. And you can check out where all of the, you can kind of track the energy markets and all of that stuff pretty well using all of this stuff. So it's very cool. Again, you can see where things are kind of happening. Let's look at the Strait of Hormuz, right? So you see all these military bases in the Strait of Hormuz. Well, when we're looking at power plants with everything going on in the Strait of Hormuz right now, look at that. So you can see all of these basic energy sectors. So you can just tell this is going to be a really bloody war because look at all of this stuff that's available to the public. Like I'm a civilian, right? I'm just a cop, and I'm able to see all this stuff, and it's just crazy. Al Dahara Solar Farm, you know where everything is at, literally right there. Tells you where everything's at. The data centers, Equinix DX2 in Dubai, insane. And these are just all little areas just within the Strait of Hormuz. And then, again, we go over at Kharg Island. So why do they want Kharg Island? Why do they want this tiny little island in the middle of nowhere? What is the reason? I believe this is Kharg Island. Well, Kharg power plant, gas, right? So the status is that it's still operating, Global Energy Monitor, and the Kharg power plant shows that it is still active. So when you look at what is important to the United States and Trump, that is what is important. And so that he wants to send soldiers into the Strait of Hormuz and all these different locations, basically to secure these areas. Again, looks like we have another power plant right here, the Boshar power plant. This is, again, in Iran. But you look at all these different areas, and you know how easily you can track this, right? You look at Bahrain. Yep. Aluminum Bahrain power station. We have a lot of data centers here. BICS, SEAF, piercings, crazy. All of that. Then you have gas plants, so water stations, desalination plants. Shows you everything. So pretty scary stuff. Pretty scary stuff. That is what's going on in the Middle East right now when it comes to the power plant and the energy sector, and kind of why the United States is trying so hard to basically secure that Strait of Hormuz and keep everything open. Against all odds, against all desperation, Trump wants to continue this Iran war because he wants to secure that trade. But at the end of the day, it's kind of crazy because we already had the Strait of Hormuz, right? We already had these things secured. And now we're back in there and we're sending troops in there, and it's going to be really a death march if it's not perfectly executed, right? We already had the U.S. troops on their mission to extract uranium and then to extract that pilot who was shot out of the sky. Thank God they found him, allegedly, and they were able to recover him and save him. But there was also news that it was really a mission to extract uranium. Okay, so you have all these different narratives playing, and that's what this episode is really about. We're covering all of these massive stories that are covering the ether in World War III today. And all of this matters when it comes to business and economics in the United States, because you have to tie these things together, really. Okay, so this segment is Real Candace Owens at the pinnacle of her career. This is one of the most articulate and well-crafted episodes I've ever seen. If you didn't watch her full letter to Trump, go watch this episode on YouTube. So again, this is another tweet from Ryan Matta, a repost, but I still like this clip of Candace Owens, and I think it is a pretty good encapsulation of what the media overall is really saying about Trump and all of everything we're seeing right now. So again, leave your comments. What do you guys think about Israel settling Lebanon right now? Right? What do you guys think about that? That's crazy. What if that was the United States? What if that was your hometown? Pretty scary stuff. So what are your thoughts on it? Leave a comment. What do you think about Trump's, Truth Social statement, depicting himself as Jesus Christ when he's been attacking the Pope and really, he's been pro-Israel and really pro, serving the Jewish people and the Zionist movement. Really, the Zionist movement, I like to categorize that in, because it's not all Jewish people, right? This is the Zionist movement that we're seeing happen. And I say this as a national security. I say this from a national security standpoint, being a cop and having a criminal justice degree is kind of what I mastered in. This is kind of what this is what I've become an expert in, is national security. So when I look at people like Candace Owens, I just think these are pretty good statements, and this is really how a lot of people are feeling.
And though I highly doubt that you will be permitted any opportunity to see what the crowd now thinks of you, I have to do my best to try. So here you are. Take a listen.
I don't know who's whispering to this guy's ear.
Again, she's talking
like
to Trump here.
Grima Wormtongue from Lord of the Rings, but they're telling you wrong stuff, bro. Half of the people that I grew up with,
and this guy's talking to Trump in the video,
are not on Ben Shapiro and Mark Levin's team. Okay, we aren't neocons. We aren't war hawks. We want America first. And if you make me choose between America first and MAGA, it's America first all day. That's what MAGA was supposed to be. Totally. You were just the best vessel for it, bro. Don't get it twisted.
But as bad as he is, as corrupt as he's gotten, the insider trading, all of it. Yeah. I'm really glad he's differentiating and saying you're
One's
not
in the
with
chat
me,
for Alex Jones.
I'm not with you. I don't want to be at your cool, corrupt kid, Howard Lutnick, Jeffrey Epstein class table.
Bingo.
Thank you so much for delineating that I'm not with you, a sinking, burning ship. He wasn't loyal to his original mission. He wasn't loyal to America, and he became a creature of Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu, and all of his never-Trumper enemies are now the courtiers with the madness of King Lear, telling him the lies.
That couldn't be more obvious.
And worshiping him the way he wants to hear it, and I am not one of those people.
This proves one of many things. The first thing, he shouldn't be in office anymore. Implement the 25th. He's not loyal to this country, and he's not loyal to anybody. Well, except for that little country in the Middle East. It's almost like he does what he's told. And the last president to tell that little country no was JFK, and we all know what happened to him. It's like, Donald Trump, how can you call them losers when you lose to Bibi Netanyahu in Israel every single day?
Like, this is the real war. This is totally the real war, and I think every American, if you are watching this, you need to take the responsibility to take up this, mission of securing the truth. Because this is the truth. The United States is owned by Israel right now, and the big war is going to be trying to force this narrative that a war with Iran is a good thing, because it's going to be about a 5-year war minimum. And so, the White House in D.C. is really going to try to push this. Langley and, the CIA is going to try to push this, and this is really how things work. And so when it comes to these wars, they're going to make a lot of money for these, Trumpers and people like this. And I used to like Trump, voted for him 3 times. But, now I feel like these people, right? I don't think, MAGA didn't change. Donald Trump changed. And it's not good because, again, we have a president who, regardless of Republican or Democrat, whatever your political affiliations, one of the reasons that I started this show was because we do have a crisis in this country where we have presidents and politicians who are subservient to another foreign country. And, that's a major problem. The Israel lobby is the largest lobby, and they do control all of our politicians. These donors are giving our politicians millions and millions and millions of dollars, and they're also controlling our financial system, our Federal Reserve, all of these things, very factual things here. And we're not being anti-Semitic by saying this. We're stating real facts. So I'm covering the information because as an entrepreneur, as a real estate agent, as a, cop, and somebody who loves the criminal justice system in the United States and law and order, and again, prosperity more than anything. I want everybody to be able to make money. Well, in order for that to happen, we need to be able to address what is happening to our own politicians. You got to be able to stay focused on politics to some degree, right? So that's kind of what I see happening with Trump. What do you guys think? But I agree with a lot of what these people are saying. Let's finish this.
He told them no to anything.
He said Brigitte Macron is far more beautiful than Candace Owens.
All I can say is he's...
Do you guys think Brigitte Macron is a man or a woman? Do you guys think that entire... that entire conspiracy theory is real, or you think it's just going to be debunked pretty soon here? Obviously, I don't think it's real, but it's kind of funny. I love to entertain it. It's definitely hilarious.
That's all across the internet. Take your pick, left and right. People understand that message was really your basket of deplorables moment. I mean, even on Truth Social, your very own platform, they've turned on you. Let's go through just some of these responses, okay? You are way out of line. Most of these people, especially Alex Jones, have been your day ones. That's correct.
And again, she's responding to the Truth Social tweet where Trump was basically attacking Candace Owens. He attacked Nick Fuentes, or he didn't attack Nick Fuentes. It was Candace Owens, it was Alex Jones, it was Megyn Kelly, and I might be missing somebody in there, but it was definitely those creators, and it's like, dude, these are like the main hardcore base. That's insane.
Just to remind you, Trump, when no one would have you on, when no media company would have you on, Alex Jones had you on his show. Right. Of course, continues. You need to take a step back and take a good hard look at who is whispering in your ear and get back to America first. Next person, Trump, you are just going against everyone that fought for him to win just because of the Epstein files and being at war with Iran for Israel. They didn't leave MAGA.
Definitely because of those Epstein
Clearly, you are
files,
insane.
for sure.
Time to resign, Donald, or face the 25th. You are mentally and emotionally unfit to be POTUS. You are so childish. Clearly, the truth has triggered you, being one of your biggest supporters. I am done with you and your lies. Look at the mess that you have gotten our country into by bending the knee to a monster.
Right.
I could go on, but I have to say that.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? Even with the Epstein files and everything we learned with those Epstein files, everything, like all of that stuff we know about Trump, we don't need to go over it and embellish on it, but all of that stuff we know, I honestly wonder if people would have looked past it, if he would have been open and honest about it. And if, more than anything, if he would have put America first. If he would have said, hey, we do have a fifth column in the United States of America, and it is Israel. This country is occupying us at this current time, and we are at war with the state of Israel. Like, if he was to make a declaration like that, because it's true, It is true. It's absolutely true on every level. It's just more of a, psychological war. And so the ramifications of this is that we would lose our greatest ally. But it's like they're not our greatest ally. Israel killed JFK. They brought down the Twin Towers. We all know about the dancing Israelis. Israel's never helped the United States. They've destroyed every ceasefire that we've had with Iran right now, trying to really secure this entire peace agreement for Trump. All Israel has done is sabotage that. Whether or not Trump is in cahoots, we don't know. One thing we know for sure is that Trump did sign off of the Iran nuclear deal, and he withdrew from that deal in 2017. And so the IRGC obviously took note of that, and now here we are. But if Trump would have actually stood up for the truth, maybe we wouldn't be in this situation today. Maybe his base would be supporting him and not making these kind of posts right here that you see on the screen.
Just looking online, in my view, what was the most brutal and sadly a recurring response all across social media was this. Take a look at this tweet about Charlie. People were saying that Charlie would be on this list if they hadn't killed him. Like I said, many people said that in different ways. Charlie would be on this list.
I didn't even see that.
They hadn't killed him. So you should probably take a second to fully absorb what is being implied there.
Right.
What is being implied there is that there is no truth and there is no loyalty within you.
And that's definitely an important clip to outline there, because I think a lot of people are feeling that way. This is what Nick Fuentes had to say about it too.
How many shows has Alex Jones gone to the mat for Trump? In spite of what he knew, in spite of his reservations, in spite of his concerns, how many shows and how much flack did he get? And I say this because I'm most aware of Alex Jones' body of work. How much has Alex defended Trump, fought for Trump, went to stop the steal, supported him in 2016, said it was imperative to support him in 2020?
Alex Jones got Trump elected. I remember that. He was like a big reason that Trump had a real voter base, because Alex Jones and his audience essentially rallied behind Trump. And this was all when Trump was on the Alex Jones show.
24, defended him from the witch hunt, from the Russia investigation. And by the way, even when it was hard, even when it was difficult, when he was destroyed by the left and lost everything, and Trump was no help, Trump did not give Alex Jones a pardon preemptively when he could have after January 6th. Trump did not try to assist him in getting censored off of the internet in his first term. And Trump has done nothing in the second term to help Alex Jones in this ridiculous lawsuit and ongoing witch hunt in other matters from the DOJ and from the left. And this is how Alex is rewarded.
And I think that's so true. And you're seeing this of the entire MAGA base, essentially. Those who support Trump the most are getting the most flack. And it's like, why? And it's like, I think Trump is just completely surrounded. The Trump administration is surrounded and occupied. And I think, honestly, Trump is actually siding with the enemy. And when I say the enemy, I mean Maria Adelson, who, gives Trump $250 million twice. And people don't really talk about that, by the way. They don't talk about that second donation of hundreds of millions of dollars to Trump for basically to run again here in 2028 and to basically have some kind of proxy, right? Whether it's Ivanka Trump, whether it is, Marco Rubio, whether it's J.D. Vance or Joe Kent or Tucker Carlson even. This is kind of what the goal is to have one of these guys win. And I wouldn't have a problem with Joe Kent or Tucker Carlson specifically if they were to win. The only problem I have with those two is that they are CIA, so it's something you got to think about. But I don't have a problem with the CIA necessarily. I've worked with the CIA a little bit. I've had connections with the CIA, and I never considered them to be completely terrible. I think it depends. It's like any group of people. You will find honest agents in the CIA. You will find talented and good patriots who care about counterterrorism and national security in the CIA. And then you will also have, the neocons. You'll have warmongers. You will have, those intelligence operatives who are going to be out to kill you. And all of this stuff is real. And you have to read the book Spy Fails if you really want to understand this more, right? I think it's by Barry Strauss who wrote that book. So it's a very good book. but definitely check it out. And it talks all about it. And then you also need to read all of these other books that break into these very deep subjects. So, you know, that's just kind of what's going on today, and that's kind of what they want. They want to see those candidates really take over. Tucker Carlson, again, Marco Rubio. Really, they want J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio. That's the ideal candidates they want. Those are the Silicon Valley, Peter Thiel-funded candidates. And, you know, that's ultimately what's going on. Whether you like that or not, that's what's happening, according to my research. So, going on here, the amount of U.S. Air Force transport heading to the Middle East tonight is insane. Something is definitely up. So, again, look at this movement. This is this was posted just yesterday at 5:47. So, over the weekend, all of this is happening. All of the movements are happening. The military movements are happening. We're going into the Middle East.
I spoke yesterday with Vice President J.D. Vance. He called me from his plane on the way back from Washington. He reported to me in detail, as the people of this administration do every day, on the development of the negotiations. In this case, the explosion in the negotiations, the explosion came from the American side, which was not willing to tolerate the blatant...
Did he just blame the United States? Netanyahu just blamed America for something they did. Israel did this. They crushed the ceasefire. They attacked Iran and these bases in Saudi Arabia and Lebanon and crushed the ceasefire. And now they're blaming America.
The explosion came from the American side, which was not willing to tolerate the blatant violation of the agreement to enter negotiations
from our greatest ally. No loyalty.
Iran. Essentially, the agreement was that there would be a ceasefire and Iran would immediately open the crossings. They didn't do that. The Americans were not willing to accept it.
The Americans were not willing to accept it. Okay, this is my problem. This is why everybody should be talking about politics. This is why you watching should have some kind of play, whether it's an Anon account, whether it's what. People need to talk about this issue because this is so wrong. We are getting blamed, the United States, for this war that Israel started to begin with. This is all for Israel in the Greater Israel Project, Pax Judaica. That is the operation that's being done here. And we are being forced to go along with this narrative that America did this war. America ruined the ceasefire now. See what's happening? So Trump is just giving in to Netanyahu, and because of this, Netanyahu is just eating him. He's eating America and the entire narrative. And now he's framing this narrative so America destroyed the ceasefire. So America is the real aggressor. That is what they're trying to frame now. The whole new narrative is that America is the big Satan and that Israel is the little Satan. And this is the whole narrative that they're going to be pushing for the foreseeable future. And as long as Trump keeps supporting them, he'll just go right along with it. So this is not good.
He also conveyed to me that the central issue on the table from the perspective of President Trump and the United States is the removal of all enriched material and ensuring that there is no more enrichment in the coming years, and this could be for decades. I spoke yesterday with Vice President J.D. Vance.
They want Iran to be completely denuclearized, but it's like that is what has been deterring Iran, from getting into this war. Like Israel has been bombing Iran for years, again and again and again, nonstop. Having a nuclear program for Iran allows them to have some kind of deterrence to getting bombed, right? They have to have some ability to enrich and to defend themselves. Imagine if we were the Iranians, right? And you're getting bombed every single day. Your neighbors are getting bombed every single day. Imagine like Canada, Mexico, Israel has bombed Canada and Mexico. Let's just say that's a real thing, hypothetically. And what would America do? And who knows that? That could happen. So it's like the same way that this is happening on the other side of the world, this could happen here in America. And now you have Netanyahu blaming it all on America. So in the 10-year narrative, they want this to be America's war. And they're going to write this in the history books to be America's World War III, that America started. And Israel will just be basically not even written inside of it. That's the goal for the Greater Israel Project, Pax Judaica. More news, Chinese Defense Ministry. The Chinese ships continue to move in and out of waters of the Strait of Hormuz. We have trade and energy agreements with Iran, which we still respect and abide by. We expect others not to interfere with our affairs. Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz and has opened it to us. So we had the Strait of Hormuz. The the United States. We were controlling it, and now we don't have it. And now China has it. So Israel, by trusting Israel, by Donald Trump trusting Israel and having so much love for Israel and Israel first, now China owns the strait. Now China and their fleet gets to dominate 20% of the world's oil, and China's going to be winning. And Russia's also going to be winning from this. So geopolitically, not good for the United States. Trump is getting completely brainwashed, and he's being completely misguided, misled, and his administration is destroying any semblance of any kind of chance of success. This is scary stuff. The war's heating up, and China's taking control of the Strait of Hormuz now. They're going to be eating the benefits. 20% of the world's oil revenue is going to be going to China. Crazy. That's unless we, of course, either leave the Strait of Hormuz and strategically control it now, or if we can somehow win, and I don't see that happening, but we have to somehow win and be able to control this entire strait. So according to the critical updates on Glint, we have millions across the Midwest and plains are facing a multi-day severe weather threat with tornadoes, very large hail and damaging wind gusts possible. ABC News' Ginger Z reports that. According to the New York Times, the U.S. demanded a 20-year suspension of uranium enrichment, while Iran reportedly countered with a 5-year proposal. According to the Financial News and Bloomberg, read today's Australia briefing for your daily dose of the best of Bloomberg. Again, lots of big news happening. Revolution Medicines shared their findings in press release Monday that pancreatic cancer, a deadly disease that strikes more than 60,000 Americans every year. The company said it will double survival to 13.2 months compared with its standard chemotherapy. So there's a lot of advancements happening with all of this. Okay? When it comes to all of the Iran news here, though, that's where I really think people should be paying attention the most. So it doesn't look like there's any major critical updates beside what we see here on the screen. Again, Strait of Hormuz traffic returns to normal by the end of April. What do you guys think? A lot of people say that it probably will happen. There's an 18% chance of that. Iran and Israel/U.S. conflict ends by April 30th. What do you guys think? The poly markets, honestly, a lot of people are really thinking that, this could keep going. This entire war could keep going. I think it obviously will keep going. I think this Iran war is going to last at least a few years. I think oil prices will probably hit above $200 a barrel, and I think you're going to see all of that happen. But here's some of the prediction markets we see here. Just kind of digging into these. Always check this out. Be sure to pay attention to those. But again, more news here. China warns the United States against reckless actions regarding Chinese interests in the Strait of Hormuz. Chinese vessels continue to enter and exit the waters of the Strait of Hormuz. So again, big moves. China's taking control. California legislators are trying to make investigating fraud illegal. So Elon Musk reposted Nick Shirley's post on X, which was posted 5 hours ago. California is trying to pass a bill that would criminalize investigative journalism with misdemeanors, $10,000 fines, imprisonment, and content takedown. The proposal bill is titled AB 2624 and was made after I exposed massive fraud by immigrant groups in America. Under AB 2624, government-funded entities like the Somali Leering Centers would be protected from being exposed if operated inside of California. The enemy truly is within. When our politicians would rather protect fraudsters and illegal migrants, it's time for us to stand up or face massive oppression from the traitors who rule over us. 100% true. So that's insane. If you guys haven't heard about Nick Shirley and his entire expose where he exposed billions of dollars of fraud, essentially, now they want to essentially make it illegal to even investigate fraud. CBS News arrests made in California fraud crackdown targeting L.A. hospice ring allegedly behind $267 million in bogus charges. FBI announces SoCal arrests and major hospice care fraud bust. Taxpayer loses exceeded $50 million. And so you look at all of these different stories coming out. It's just absolutely wild. The corruption is unreal. Again, the comments aren't so happy. You got a lot of interesting memes in the comment section there. People aren't thrilled about it, and why should they be? So we need to expose the fraud, and these people should be thrown in a gulag, and the key should be locked away. It's kind of how I feel. Joe Kent, he made a post last edited 10:32 a.m. today, this morning. Upcoming negotiations will fail if we don't restrain the Israelis and stop giving them access to our decision-making. The Israelis push for zero uranium enrichment because they know it's a poison pill for Iran and will result in the war continuing. Iran has continued to develop or obtain Iran has committed to not developing or obtaining a nuclear weapon since 2003. A deal can be reached about uranium enrichment levels and monitoring, ending the war and opening the Strait of Hormuz. This can only happen if we treat the Israelis like the junior partner and put our interests first. See, I already don't like that tweet. And the reason I don't is because we need to like completely detach from Israel. All right? We need to completely detach from them. I don't think we should even have any kind of relationship with the state of Israel. I don't see how Israel is a real ally. If anything, we need to be at war with Israel. We really should be at war with them. We should be liberating them. We should be liberating the Middle East by getting rid of Israel and not allowing them to annex Lebanon, which is exactly what they did to Gaza. And they're doing all of this as the Iran war is happening because they're creating order out of chaos, diversion, shock, and awe. And so because your conscience is shocked so much by this war, they really just do not want to admit that this war is not going to help anybody but Israel. And so they're going to keep this war going, right? Netanyahu wants to keep this war going. Netanyahu at the cabinet meeting. I spoke yesterday with Vice President J.D. Vance. He called me from his plane on his way back from Islamabad. He reported to me that in detail that this administration does at every day about the development of the negotiations. In this case, the explosion in negotiations. The explosion came from the American side, which could not tolerate Iran's blatant violation of the agreements to enter the negotiations. The agreement was that they would cease fire and that Iranians would immediately open the gates. They did not do that. The Americans could not accept that. He also made it clear to me that the main issue on the agenda for President Trump and the United States is the removal of all enriched material and ensuring that there is no more enrichment in the coming years and that could be into the decades. No enrichment with Iran. That is their focus, and of course it is also important to us. So that is what Netanyahu had to say. Okay, so terrible. Netanyahu is now blaming the United States for all of this. Crazy. So America's the bad guys now, even though this was never even our war. This was a war that Israel wanted and forced our hand on, and now we are being blamed for it by Israel. See how that works? Not so fun, is it? Breaking: Turkey is in talks with South Korea, Canada, China, and Russia to build 4 new nuclear power plants. A total of 8 large reactors, 4 in Sinop, 4 in Thrace, are planned as part of Turkey's major energy expansion. Wild. So Turkey is in talks with South Korea, Canada, China, and Russia to build 4 nuclear power plants. I think that's good. I think Turkey needs to enrich themselves. They need to become more powerful because Israel wants to annex Turkey next. So after Lebanon, if Israel is successful in taking, if they are successful in taking Lebanon, their next target is going to be Turkey, and they've said that. The Israelis have said they want Turkey. They want that entire land stretched up all the way to Ukraine. They want that. They want Greenland. Everything you're seeing is for the state of Israel. And, Argentina, you have all these things happening. Patagonia, Argentina, you have all these laws being written for that. We're going to be covering that. And, all of those stories. We got a bunch of stuff lined up here in the next hour here. So watch, China's defense minister says the U.S., despite 240 years of history, has spent only 16 years without war. He says Washington has 800 bases across 80-plus countries. China calls the U.S. the main driver of global instability and a major threat to peace. See, you're not going to talk about Israel, though. While Israel is genociding Lebanon, they're doing this to Christian villages. They are blaming America. Nobody, no country has the cojones to stand up to Israel. Why is that? Why is China, so powerful China, they're not willing to say Israel is the real threat? Isn't that crazy? And what does that say? That they're willing to work with Israel to destroy the United States. They know that the United States is the greater threat, so they're going to work with Israel long term. And Israel is going to work with China. And that's why Israel has been helping to build up China. That's why you keep hearing from these globalists that China is the city of the future. It's the land of the future. And it's like, well, yeah, because they've socially engineered that idea for decades. So let's listen to this video. Again, this is basically the Chinese saying that the United States has spent 240 years of history and only 16 years without war. And a lot of that, it depends on how you categorize that, but yeah, that's pretty much almost right. Taiwan is pivoting to its helium supply from Qatar to the United States after Ras Laffan went offline, and this matters more than it sounds. Again, this post is from Mario Nawfal. Helium cools water wafers during chip etching, creates inert atmospheres during lithography, and detects leaks in fab equipment. There is no substitute. No helium means Taiwan's TSMC simply stops. TSMC makes almost every advanced chip on Earth. The war in Iran is just made it strategically dependent on U.S. supply. So that is really good for the United States. That gives us a lot more power over essentially the trade in Taiwan right now. And so that's definitely beneficial for America. That helps us win. That is great for the United States. But again, we also know that China at any time could go and take Taiwan. They want to take Taiwan. So what happens if China takes Taiwan? Well, America now has a war and a fight with China. So that's interesting. China's watching everything we're doing, and they're making the moves, and they're tallying everything up. Justin, according to Watcher Guru, this was posted at 9:51 last night, President Trump says the U.S. has much more oil than Russia and Saudi Arabia combined. Boats are coming here and filling up. We don't have enough to go through Hormuz. So let's take a look at this video.
We have more oil because of drill, baby, drill. We have more oil than Russia and Saudi Arabia put together. So if you look at Russia and Saudi Arabia, two big ones, we have much more oil than they have.
Especially with Venezuela, too.
What's happening is boats are coming over here, filling up. We don't have to go through the Hormuz. We have more oil.
Crazy.
Drill, baby, drill. We have more
Yeah.
oil than Russia.
So we are winning the oil wars right now, but guess who else is winning? Israel. And that is a fact, because everything we do is basically in tandem with Israel, and Israel gets a cut, right? Breaking, a large Chinese cargo aircraft has landed in Tehran. Israel, United States, less than 24 hours after the Iran ceasefire. The third Chinese cargo plane is now in Iran. Oh my God, guys. This is not good. We are going to be fighting Chinese people. You're going to be seeing war footage on Twitter X of Chinese people and the United States fighting. You're going to see bullets, flying, and it's going to be U.S. troops versus Chinese soldiers in Iran. Isn't that insane? That's crazy. And on top of all of this, it's going to be a lot of drone warfare. Everything, all this footage you've seen of Ukraine versus Russia and all of that drone warfare, it's going to happen here. It's going to happen here. It's going to happen in Iran. So now we have China in Tehran. How nuts is this? Ken, this comes directly from the Defense Journal page on X. Absolutely crazy. Some more breaking news. This is from the New Physics. I like this account. Gives you a lot of insights on the newest scientific developments. Scientists just learned how to control magnetism at the atomic level. No materials, no circuits, individual spin patterns. Read that again. Instead of using electric charge, they're using the spin of electrons to store and process data. And it gets crazier. They can create tiny magnetic whirlpools called skyrmions that move with almost no energy and can store massive amounts of data. This means faster computers, lower power outages, and lower power usage and ultra dense memory. But the real shift is this: we're not just building electronics anymore. We're engineering structure at the smallest possible scale. So the real question is, if informative can be stored in the spin itself, what limits the computation? So very cool. Very cool. So lots of big developments coming with science today, with evolution and all of these amazing things, all of the technology in our world. Very cool stuff. So let's look at some of the bookmarks. Let's look at the breaking news real quick, see what's new. 34 minutes ago, Christ before country. I stand with Pope Leo. 100%. 100%. Don't want to get copyright there. But yeah, I totally stand with the Pope, and I think what Trump is doing is completely wrong. I think he needs to stand with the Pope, and for Trump to be talking against the Pope, saying that the Pope needs to be on board with this war with Iran when there really is no strategic military benefit. This is for Israel. And that's why the Pope is talking against this. This is to promote a genocide. So the state of Israel can genocide Gaza And so they can resettle Gaza, nothing happens. And then so they can do the same thing to Lebanon, nothing happens. And so it's like, who's to say they won't do that to the United States? What happens when our laptops and cell phones and all these things, what happens when all of these things that we use every day just explode? That's my question. You ever think about that? What happens? Seriously. What happens when the Israelis decide to do to America what, we and Israel are doing to Lebanon and Gaza? We are going to pay, and it's going to be you that pays. It's not going to be Jared Kushner. It's not going to be Donald Trump or Steve Witkoff. It's going to be you. And so there comes a point with every presidency, at a certain point, the American people need to stand up. They need to speak for what is right. That's why I love what Dan Bilzerian is doing. I love that he's running for Congress in Florida because honestly, Randy Fines, we can't have those kind of people in our Congress because why? We're keeping up this war that makes no sense. So this is from Nick Fuentes 2 minutes ago. Good luck to Trump and the GOP without Catholics, Muslims, anti-war voters, fiscal hawks, immigration hawks, prospective homebuyers, anybody who wanted the Epstein files, anybody who watched Tucker, Alex Jones, Megyn Kelly, and Candace. But hey, at least they're popular in Israel. Yeah, seriously. Yeah, I love that. Dan Bilzerian responded to Randy Fine, never again will Christians be led to slaughter by Jewish wars or for Jewish wars. Yeah, and I put like there 100%. So we're seeing a lot of the same, people are still talking about the insane Truth Social post. Oh, God. That's crazy.
Your reckoning has come.
What is
this? So this is the big, these are the memes that are going across X right now. That's crazy. When you see someone you thought you'd never see again, yeah, that's funny. So you got a lot of comments and people saying this kind of stuff. But what do you guys think about the entire situation? It is scary, right? It is scary that our country is quite literally being occupied to such a large degree. Very, very scary stuff. A man allegedly stabbed a parking lot attendant. This is 4 hours ago from Mario Nawfal. He posted, a man allegedly stabbed a parking attendant twice in the head with a 6-foot wooden cane in San Diego. Police used non-lethal rounds and a canine to bring him down. The victim suffered head lacerations, but it's okay. That dog is a freaking unit. So again, let's check this out. Got to play some cop videos. I can't. Got to enjoy the law enforcement life a little bit still. Crazy, look at that. So this crazy person allegedly stabbed somebody in the head with that stick. I don't know what they just shot him with. It looks like a beanbag gun, maybe. Get him. Get him. Look at that dog. Taking those hits. Oh, that son of a bitch. Hurting the dog now? Oh, no. Bite him in the nuts. Come on, baby. There we go. Get him. Get him. There we go. He's got the arm. He's done. He's done. Good dog. Good boy. Good boy. Nice. And that is justice. It really is that simple. What if we all just did that to our politicians? The people who were really corrupt and really deserved to be held accountable, right? Like imagine. Universities are now canceling live speeches because they are afraid students will say bad things about Israel. It's being done to try in vain and to protect the reputation of Israel. Yeah. So look at this. Check this out.
America is now canceling graduation speeches. NYU, which is where I went to school, has officially ended live school graduation speakers, and the university says that it will now play a video of selected speakers' pre-recorded remarks as they sit on stage. Why is this happening? Well, I quote, the ruling class knows that if you give the smartest person in the room a microphone, they're probably going to say free Palestine. So once again, the speech of Americans is being silenced, not because the elites think that we're going to say something bad about America, but rather because, quote, we need to protect the reputation of Israel.
Insane.
America is now canceling.
That just tells you how much. This just tells you how much America is controlled by Israel. Like, we cannot let this go on. It just is so unacceptable. This is just 10 minutes ago. Candace Owens says Donald Trump is no longer a Christian, is now under demonic influence of the Christian Zionists like Paula White. Yeah,
And
I think that's obvious. I think we can all agree on that. What do you guys think? Am I wrong? Is Candace Owens crazy? Is she as crazy as Nick Fuentes believed? I don't know about that anymore. I think Candace Owens is pretty right. Let's listen to this.
Truly, and I do not say this to be extra. I do not say this to be performative. He is truly under demonic influence. You see that in the prayers, and I have to say respectfully, it was definitely something. Which I am hopeful, and please forgive me if I'm out of line here, but I'm hopeful that more cardinals, more princes of the church will speak out against the role that some of our bishops have had in this.
It's so disappointing. I love Trump. He was a badass. Like, I feel like such a pussy for talking badly against Trump. I really do. I feel like such a pussy. I feel like a Democrat, and I hate it. But it's like, this guy's a Democrat now, not me. I'm not a Democrat. I never changed. I believe in closed borders. I believe in secure borders. I believe in America first and not putting foreign nations above our own. I believe in all of that. I never changed. Donald Trump is the one who changed here. And so that's what I'm saying.
Beside Paula White during that prayer, and his excuse is, well, I was there. Well, then you should make a statement after and say, this is wrong. This is wrong. I didn't mean to be. I didn't know what she was going to say when she prayed. But what she said was wrong, and it was blasphemous. And no, Trump, this is Easter, and Trump has nothing to do. He is nothing like Jesus Christ. In fact, Trump is not even a Christian. And so there is a role here that I think the Catholic Church needs to step in a really big way.
Oh, yeah.
There are too many TV bishops, too many TV pastors, too many people that have turned what it means to be a Christian into reality TV, frankly.
Right. Totally.
You can wear the clerical
into Zionist propaganda. Let's just say what it is. There's Christian Zionists, and then there's Catholics. That's the difference.
Robes and be presenting yourself as something totally different. There needs to be and there has been thus far, a very severe reaction just all across the faith. Everybody, every Catholic bishop, every Catholic cardinal, but Catholics in general, you can't support Trump. You cannot support Trump.
I mean, like, I want to support Trump, but it's like, geez, dude, you're gonna put like Israel first, like at every turn. Like, no, bro, you're an enemy to America. Like, no, that's not why we voted for you, dude. Like, you changed. The American people did not change. You changed, Trump. So again, 8 hours ago, 121 empty oil tankers are now heading to the United States as President Trump urges countries hit by the Strait of Hormuz disruption to buy American energy. Again,
very large crude carriers capable.
Look at this.
A ship tracking firm reports 121 empty oil tankers are making their way to the United States of America. 68 of those 121 vessels are very large crude carriers capable of carrying 2 million barrels apiece.
We've already won this war. We've won this war, and it's been huge. We're coming back to the United States, and it's going to be beautiful.
President Trump has urged countries squeezed by Iran's disruption of the Strait of Hormuz to turn to American energy supplies instead. Well, it would appear perhaps they are obliging him. They are listening to Trump. The president told Fox, quote, China can send their ships to the U.S., China can send their ships to Venezuela, while also saying that empty oil-carrying ships from many nations are all headed to the U.S. to load up. That from the President of the United States. A ship tracking firm reports 121 empty oil tankers are making their way to... That is
massive. Joe Rogan, again, Elon Musk reposted this 22 hours ago. You'd think that if you're going to be appointed as a judge, you'd have to be proven that you have an excellent knowledge of the law and that you will make your decision according to the law. That's what we assume should be a requirement.
Yeah.
Love this.
Excited. Anyone.
One more time.
In that case, I believe that judge has no law degree or a significant legal experience that would allow them to be a judge. They were just made a judge. That's just like...
You could be a judge without a law degree?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You could just be so I could be a judge?
Yeah, they could just install you and appoint you.
Excited.
Anyone.
That's crazy. I thought you'd have to... It's like if you want to be a doctor, you have to go to medical school. I thought if you're going to be a judge,
think, like,
you have
if
to...
you're
a lot of people don't know
going to
this.
be appointed to a judge, you have to have proven that you have an excellent knowledge of the law and that you will make your decisions according to the law. That's what we assume should be...
That's how you get the robe.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't get the robe unless you do,
Right.
you know.
Got to go to school to get the robe.
You got to know what the law is.
Right.
And then you got to need to make decisions in accordance with the law.
Based on the stuff that you already know because you read it because you went to school for it.
Yes.
Not you just got to point
Not
it.
vibes.
Right.
You can't be just vibing as a judge.
Seriously, and it's happening everywhere. You wonder why you have no justice anymore. You wonder why there's no more law and order. That's why. Polymarket, Eric Swalwell resigns from Congress. That's huge. 2 hours. A lot of people probably made some money on that. Breaking mass uprising in Fushisawa, Japan. Thousands stormed the streets and train stations in fury, raging against plans for massive mosque beside a sacred. Wow, this is crazy. It's like, come on. Like, why do the Muslims have to do this? Like, you know, the Muslims should be united with the Christians against the Jews, and that is what should be happening. And instead, they want to go and pray. They want to build mosques right in other people's countries. It's like, what the hell? Like, it's so regressive. It's like bringing everybody back 1,000 years in the past. Breaking mass up again. It's just crazy. So again, Japan is saying no to mosques being built in their the sacred Samukawa Shinto Shrine, which was again made in 460 AD, and doesn't matter. They just have to accept illegal immigrants. They have to accept mass migration. This is going to change the demographics of Japan. You're going to see, like, every country now is going to be this, you know, this country where there's no real origin. No more Asian people, no more white people, no more black people. It's just going to be a mixed race planet. And that's kind of what they're trying to get everybody on board for. Sam Levinson, the creator of Euphoria, constantly humiliates the blonde, blue-eyed woman by making her have sex with black men and making her get raped. The show is also based on the Israeli show about having sex with minors. Yeah. So that show Euphoria on Netflix, that's exactly what that's about. It's fucking crazy. And they normalize pedophilia. It's very Jewish. It's a very Israeli thing that they like to do. Back to the Apple Maps story, ethnically cleansing most of Lebanon as IDF expands the occupation. Only cities like Tyre, Sidon, and Beirut are left on the maps. Attempts to report the issue are deleted. So again, Apple's like, F you. We're going along with this Israeli thing. They're giving us a shit ton of money, so we're going to erase Lebanon from the map, literally. And we're going to just side with this genocide. We're going to side with this genocide. We're going to do nothing about it. And if you have a problem with that, then leave a complaint to Apple support and your local Apple Care Center. And then maybe the Genius Center will get back to you and they'll help you. I don't know. Maybe they'll give you an Apple Care plan. But ultimately, that's the idea. So meanwhile, they tell you to support Israel. They tell you that Iran is the greatest funder of terror on earth, and then this is happening in Lebanon. This could be America at any time. If we're going to allow this to happen in Lebanon, who says that the Israelis can't do this to the United States? And, you know, this goes for anybody. If Israel can do this, why can't China do this to Taiwan? Why can't Russia do this to Ukraine? If everybody's just allowed to do this, imagine what this is going to tell every other country. Imagine the message this is going to send, that it's okay to genocide anybody you want for political purposes and religious purposes. You want Israel had their Greater Israel Project, so they needed to genocide, 30,000 Gazans, and that number actually about 70,000. And, they needed to have 700,000 Israelis living on the beaches of Gaza while they dropped pamphlets that said, we are going to be drinking coffee on your beach, speaking specifically to the Gazans. That is what the Israelis did. But hey, that's acceptable. That's the new world we live in. And if you don't have a problem, if you got a problem with that, then go somewhere else. If you got such a problem with being genocided, then maybe you're not a Christian, Christians, you okay with this? We Muslims demand a boycott. So new look at the Anne Hathaway and David Lowery's mother Mary. Again, Anne Hathaway is Jewish, by the way. Little fun fact. Breaking, Supreme Leader of North Korea Kim Jong-un speaks on the U.S.-Iran war. I am always ready to sit down with the U.S. president at any time to make efforts of a mediation with Iran to produce an outcome that the international community would welcome. Peace in the world is our major goal. The world has had enough of the instability. Now that the North Korea and South Korea are on the path of peace and prosperity, I would like joint military operations with South Korea and other nations, and I will not allow the deployment of weapons of other nations in our vicinity. So there's Kim Jong-un. That's his statements there. American UFC fighter Bryce Mitchell. Here was his statements about everything going on.
I can't really. I'm so upset about Charlie Kirk's passing. I can't really go to sleep right now. I keep thinking of his wife and kids. That's what gets me. Because I know he wasn't in any pain.
I thought this was posted a while ago.
And I also know that Charlie Kirk was extremely brave Christian, and he inspired me to make this post. He was the opposite of a coward. He said everything he believed and made it be known to people because he loved our country, America, that's going to shit every single day. And let me tell you something about 9/11. Ain't no Muslims did 9/11. 9/11 was done by Israel.
100%.
The same people that raped those kids on Epstein's Island. All of y'all can go to hell. Israel hates Jesus Christ. They hate Jesus Christ. The nation of Israel hates Jesus Christ. They fit the description of Revelation.
That's true, according to the
2:9.
Talmud. That's actually true. That's not propaganda. Part of the Talmud does believe that Jesus Christ is burning in hell. And that's a real thing. So if you're a real Catholic or Christian, you call yourself a Christian, then you really are, you can never really side with the Jewish religion. That religion is conflicting with Christianity. So it's kind of a joke. Always has been a joke. Judeo-Christianity. Anybody who believed that, they've been misled for a long time. Catholicism has always been the true church, has always been the true, Christendom, the true origin of it all, really.
And 3:9, the synagogue of Satan. The nation state of Israel is the synagogue of Satan.
Yeah.
You corrupted,
Facts.
evil bastards. You did 9/11. You blamed it on the Muslims. Guess what? I love Muslims. You're never going to fool me. Muslims love Jesus Christ. The only people that hate Jesus are the synagogue of Satan, is Israel.
Yeah. They believe he's burning in hell.
And if I didn't say that, I'd be a coward. And people like Charlie Kirk would die for nothing. And no, I don't agree with everything Charlie said, but I love Charlie because he loves Jesus, and he said...
He loved the truth.
What he wanted to say. He believed in freedom of speech, and he died for it. And I'll do the same thing. I'm so sick of this nation. I'm so sick of these lies and these pedophile politicians. Every single one of y'all can rot in hell because you're all a bunch of pedophiles. You're all blackmailed by Israel. Go to hell.
Oh, yeah. And the day is coming where there's going to be serious consequences. There is going to be a revolution, and it'll come at some point, at the right time, When the people are ready, when the people are more awake, there will come a day. But this appears to be a lot of the breaking news. Recently, father of Elon Musk, Errol, at the Orthodox Easter ceremony of Moscow's Cathedral of Christ in Savior, Musk was seated in place of honor near the altar for around 3 to 4 hours. By the way, all worshipers, Putin too, had to stand throughout the service. Wow. That's awesome. Very cool. Very cool. So that's a lot of the big news we're covering for today. We're going to pretty much end it there. But what do you guys think about all of the news? Lots of big stories. We'll cover a lot of this stuff tomorrow that we weren't able to hit tonight. But we're going to wrap this up. What did you guys think about everything? What do you guys think of the main news and everything that's going on? I think it's pretty wild, right? But ultimately, I think the Israel war, the Iran war, and everything we're seeing, I think there's going to be a real message that's sent to the state of Israel and all of these politicians who are siding with this, because it's not okay. And as you know, the United States of America, we can never be a country that allows for genocide to happen, like we're allowing the Israelis to do in Lebanon right now. We need to be a country who, doesn't just care about ourselves, but we also have to care about the rest of the world. Because as soon as we stop caring about the rest of the world in a way that is actually beneficial and lucrative to us, which means humanity and defending Christianity and the innocent, liberating countries who hate peace. And I would say that is Israel today, not Iran. That's Israel. Muslims and Christians, we have our clashes. There are problems with these religions, absolutely. But at the same time, the real national security threat, the real counterterrorism issue 101, 100% is the state of Israel. Every American should be talking about it. You should be researching it on X. You should be typing it in. Just type it in, Zionism. Type in Jew. Type in Israel. Sorry, you need to learn. People need to learn the truth about this issue because it is the most pressing issue of our time. We're going to be back tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we're going to be covering a lot more of the Iran war. We're going to be covering a lot of the developments that we weren't able to cover tonight. So much news that happened over the weekend, but there's a lot to cover, and a lot that's going to happen probably the time this stream ends. So be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, support the show, and I appreciate you guys listening. And with that being said, I have nothing further. Stay prudent, stay powerful, and stay wealthy.